Welcome back to our course on SAP Materials Management. In this session, we will be discussing various parameters like MRP Group, ABC Indicator, MRP Type, Reorder Point, MRP Controller, Lot Size Procedure, Rounding Value, which are all in the MRP1 view. Those things we'll discuss. Before going to the session, let us see the answers for the last session's quiz. What are the two major MRP procedures? One is material requirement planning, another is consumption based planning. In material requirement planning, BOM will get exploded. Consumption based planning, based on past consumption, planning will happen. This is a broad idea. These are two broad types. How many views are there for MRP? So there are 4 views: MRP1, MRP2, MRP3 and MRP4. I explained you how to remember these things. MRP1 for planning, MRP2 for integration of planning, manufacturing with procurement, MRP3 for the operation sales with planning, MRP4 for manufacturing and planning. What is the significance of MRP1 view? Here, as I said, planning parameters are maintained. What is the significance of MRP2 view? The procurement manufacturing related parameters and the planning parameters are integrated. This integration is maintained in MRP2 view. When variation in consumption is more, should we keep lower reorder point or higher reorder point? When variation more means there is a fluctuation high. When fluctuation is high, suddenly if the requirement is going up, we need to keep more reorder point. So when the variation is high, we need to keep higher reorder point. When the variation is low, we need to keep lower reorder point. Which functions departments need higher lot size? Which functions departments need lower lot size? See, the manufacturing and procurement, like a purchase, they need higher lot size because producing more or purchasing more, they will have more discount and also more efficiency of the machines. But the sales and logistics, supply chain and logistics, they need the lower lot size because it will give a lot of flexibility and also the warehouses storage space also will come down. So there is a conflict. One department will need more lot size, another department will need lower lot size. This has to be addressed always in the supply chain. This is the challenge of the supply chain manager. What are the 3 major operating models we discuss in this session? These are make to stock, make to order and assemble to order. What is availability check? Availability check is checking the availability of materials, capacity and production resource tools during execution of orders in different stages. That is availability check. Because before we start to execute, if we check the availability of these things, it will be have a smooth and a better operation will take care. The operations will be executed in the right way so that any inefficiency can be avoided. Availability check is done only during sales order creation. Here I am talking about material availability check. Is done only during sales order creation. Is it true or false? No. The availability check has to be checked during sales order creation, planned order generation, production order creation, delivery creation. In different stages, it has to be checked. Then only we can ensure that the metals are available to execute the subsequent functions. So it is important to check these things in the each subsequent stages. Out of 4 MRP views, here we are going to discuss MRP1 view. MRP views are plant dependent parameters. All MRP 1, 2, 3, 4 are plant dependent parameters. So whatever the parameters we define here are applicable to the specific plant. See, the purpose of MRP view, each view you should understand as the high level concept. That is why I present this in all the until we complete MRP discussion, this slide will repeat. So we are going to discuss MRP1, which will contain the parameters related to planning, right? That's what we are going to discuss now. So more care has to be taken to maintain these parameters because the parameters available in MRP views are defining which metal has to be planned when. So these the accuracy of these parameters here and also the proper data here fix how much inventory is there and also how the customer service will be there. So we have to take utmost care. And as we saw in purchasing view, In MRP view also, the basic details like material code, description, basic unit of measurement will be carried over from the basic views automatically. And also when we maintain the purchasing view, the details of purchasing group, GR processing time, plan specific details are carried over. If the metal is not purchasing, only manufacturing means, here we have to maintain the plant specific metal status, GR processing time details here. Then other than this, we need to maintain other parameters specific to the plant. So here we are starting MRP1 view, which contains all the planning parameters to define how the planning has to run, and also what are the parameters and logics to be followed and applied while converting the calculated net requirement to proposals. So first let us start with the field MRP group. MRP group is a field which is used to group all the materials from MRP point of view to assign special control parameters for the planning run. So for example, if you want to assign like a strategy group, consumption mode, or planning horizon, those kind of parameters, we can assign them in the MRP group. Then if we fill this MRP group, system will consider this. These control parameters are created for the total planning and customizing in MRP when we are customizing for MRP, which is if the parameters are deviating from the plant parameters, because in the customization we have plant related parameters also. Here we can also define the MRP group related parameters. And also using this MRP group, we can also run MRP separately for a specific MRP groups. And if you don't maintain MRP group, right, if they don't maintain the MRP group, then SAP will use the metal type instead of MRP group. So in that case, we have to maintain that metal type in the customizing as the MRP group, right? So MRP group is like grouping the metal from the MRP point of view, where we can maintain the specific details like a planning strategy, a consumption mode, planning horizon, and other details, so which can be taken for the planning process activities. And then next field is ABC indicator. It is the classification of the material. It is a ABC classification. So ABC classification can be done in different ways. It may be based on the unit price or usage quantity, criticality of availability or usage value, many other parameters. So ABC classification can be manually arrived and entered into the system, or it can be done with the SAP transaction itself and assigned to the field on various selection criteria. We will discuss this during inventory controlling session. We will be having inventory controlling through SAP PP. At that time, we will discuss how to do the ABC classification through system. So ABC classification like shown here, they are A means significant material, B means material medium significance, C is the metal which is having low significance. Again, these classifications depends on the company, depends on the purpose, depends on the usage. The classifications may differ. Then these two parameters, the plant specific metal status and valid from, we discussed them in the purchasing view also. So if we have not maintained purchasing view, then we need to maintain them in this metal master MRP1 view here. And then MRP type. MRP type is the field which determines how the metal has to be planned. Okay, this is the key point. This is the starting point for the MRP, metal requirement planning. How the MRP has to happen. So based on the selection parameter, system will plan the material. For example, if we select a reorder point MRP type, then the reorder planning will happen. The relevant inputs like what is the reorder point, what is the lot size, what is the order quantity, they need to be entered. Accordingly, system will plan procurement proposal. Like this, we have metal requirement planning, master production scheduling, forecast based planning, and other options. Based on MRP type, MRP run frequency in background also can be customized. We can run MRP for all the MRP items separately. We can run MRP for all the reorder materials separately. Like that, we can differentiate and do it also, like metal scheduling differently. MRP types can be customized based on the business need, but it is suggested to use the standard MRP types in system, because from SAP, whatever they defined, that is almost suitable to any business. So let us not try to create something new. Let us try to use what is the standard which is available in SAP. Now let us go into deep something about MRP. In this session, we will discuss about reorder point. Reorder point is the reorder level of the material, what is to be planned. This field is relevant to MRP type related to reorder planning like VB, V1, VM, V2. For these kind of MRP types, this is required. Now let us discuss the planning time fence. So what is planning time fence? Planning time fence helps to define a range within which material requirement planning should not create or delete any procurement proposal. That is a planning time fence. Why should we do it? For example, if there is a PR generated or planned order generated, if MRP is running on daily basis, then system will keep on producing new planned order, new PR, or it may amend the quantity based on the remaining situation, based on the situation as on the date. It will keep on changing it, right? Because there are some companies which are running the MRP on daily basis. So at that time, if they create these things and disturbing them, the planners and buyers will go mad, right? Because the requirements are changed. Yesterday they saw one planned order for 15 numbers. Today it is becoming 18 numbers or 12 numbers. They will not be understanding what is happening, right? So there should be some time adjust to be frozen. So for that, the planning time fence will be used. Planning time fence will be used along with some MRP types, which are called the firm MRP type. Now let us discuss what is the planning cycle. Planning cycle is the cycle in which planning run is performed for a material. Right. So everybody will have a different planning cycle. So according to that, we can define it and take it. What is the purpose of it? For example, if a vendor is delivering a metal on every Wednesday, and so you should also give your proposals, your delivery date is on Wednesday, because there are some suppliers who are the big people that they will be supplying only on specific date. They will not adhere to whatever the date you give it, they will give only on that date, right? Their specific date. So why should you get confused? We can adjust our system according to them so that our supply is ensured. So we can define the planning cycle and attach to this material so that for these materials, system will propose the requirements aligning with the supplier's supplying date. And also for some big businesses like not a I can't say it is a big business, the nature of business, like it is some food processing or fruit juice companies in which they can procure the metal only in some seasons, no? In which year the period is coming, that period can be defined and the planning cycle can be entered there. So at that time, system will propose the procurement proposals. And MRP controller is the person who is responsible for the material which is planned in the plant. The person who is assigned as MRP controller should take care of ensuring the right parameters for the material, regular follow-up of materials, improvement possibilities to reduce inventory and save the time available, no, to usage or customer. That's what you should do, right? You should do some proper analysis, and you should keep on working on how to improve the service. So when the service is improving, your sales will improve. Of course, productivity also improve, cost also will come down. An MRP controller should be based on the position or responsibility rather than just a person. Individual person name should not be there like MRP controller. For example, a person who is taking care of some specific group of finished goods can be one MRP controller. A person who is taking care of specific components can be one specific MRP controller. Like that, it can be there. And when we are running some similar analysis reports, some MRP analysis or inventory analysis, MRP controller is the important selection parameter. Now we will see what is the lot size. Lot size is the one which used to define what are the number of the proposals like a planned order or purchase requisitions to be created and how much quantity to be created for each proposal. That is the purpose of having this lot size. For the lot size, for the system to create the lot size properly, it looks other information like how much safety stock is maintained, what is the maximum minimum lot size, what is the scrap percentage defined, what are the rounding value. All these parameters we'll discuss later, but system considers these parameters in calculating the lot size. It is important to determine the right lot size from business point of view. It is very important to define the lot size to optimize inventory and ensure good service level. Because the supply chain team needs smaller lot sizes to reduce the storage cost and increase the flexibility. The production team needs higher lot sizes to increase efficiency and capacity utilization. The procurement team needs higher lot size to have quality discounts per order. How? This week we will discuss about the lot sizes because a lot of dilemma, right, when we fix the lot sizes. So whether we have to how much should be our minimum lot size we need to order, how much is the maximum lot size we can order, or what is the maximum stock level we can maintain into the plant, or what should be the standard size, like how to round off some quantities what is proposed by the system, or if you have some scrap which is getting generated during production, how to handle them. So these are all the many questions which are there, right? Fixing these parameters are very, very important, because we should not order something very, very minimum quantities frequently. At the same time, we cannot order very big quantity at in a single order. And also, like, if you have some limitation or capacity, we cannot exceed the capacity and order the quantities. Also, right now, to have a convenient of the suppliers to supply the materials, we should cannot order one piece, two piece, or 52 pieces, 53 pieces, like that. We have to some standard sizes. So those things we need to define them properly, which will help the business to run smoothly and also make the procurement activities smooth. Now we'll see each parameter, how do they work. First, let us see what is the minimum lot size. Minimum lot size is that the minimum quantity which has to be proposed from the MRP planning or MPS planning. After arriving at what is the net requirement to be proposed, like a net requirement is calculated how, that what is the stock available, what are all the open orders, what is the receipt expected, remaining things, right? That is the net requirement quantity. So that quantity may be very few numbers, but the suppliers may be asking for, no, I need a minimum this much quantity to be ordered, to be placed. So at that time we need to use this minimum lot size. For example, your requirement may be only 10 numbers or 12 numbers, but the supplier will be needing always a minimum lot size of 50 numbers. So maybe you would have discussed with him, then you would have agreed, yes, I will always place 50 numbers as order. Then how to make that system to make, give the proposal? We have to use this field minimum lot size, right? So if you don't use this minimum lot size, what exactly the requirement, what is coming from system will give it, right? That's what, that is the purpose of this minimum lot size. And then there is a maximum lot size. Okay, so maximum lot size, when it will come, for example, as a supplier, right, then he will say that no, every time when you place order, for each order or each line item, give much, this much only, don't place more than this, I cannot supply like that, right? They may ask for it. Or when you release a production order, they will say that for each batch I can produce 500 numbers. For example, if you take heat treatment, right, they can give only some maximum this much load only. Beyond that, if you release the order also, there is no use of it, right? So we have to fix a maximum lot size. That size, those kind of things we can fix using this maximum lot size. And if you fix this, if you fill the, sorry, if you leave this field blank, then whatever the quantity you get, that is what the system will propose. No, it will not consider any maximum. At the same time, after reaching the maximum, right, then system will split the proposal into the next proposal. Okay, so it will consider the total proposal. For example, right, you want to have the total quantity of 120 numbers, but the supplier or the production needs only 40 numbers for each order. Then system will give 3 orders or 3 proposal lines for this, so that you can release these orders separately or a separate schedule. So they will also process them like a 40 40 40, like that. So that is the purpose of this maximum lot size. And there is a fixed lot size. So what is a fixed lot size? When we use the lot sizing procedure fx, at that time fixed lot size is used. So what is the purpose of fixed lot size? There are some no, like production or some suppliers, they will want always the order should be in that particular lot size only, because their batch size is fixed accordingly. So they want to have that much size only. Whatever orders you are giving, whatever the line items you are giving, that the fixed lot size should be always like this. And also when you are using the reorder point strategy like VB or V1 or VM, at that time also what is the quantity to be proposed by the system, at that time also this fixed lot size will be used, right? Next is the maximum stock level. So what is the maximum stock level? Let us assume that you are having a tank where the tank capacity is 20 kiloliters, and whatever you order it, that quantity should not go beyond 20 kiloliters. Or even if you have some silo where the silo capacity is 20 kiloton, 20 metric tons, or it may be 20 meter cube. So beyond that, you cannot keep the material there, right? Or your warehouse is there, you can keep only 1000 cartons there. So you should not order more than 1000 cartons. So those things, right? Whatever the order you give it, what is the current stock, what is the maximum stock, the difference only system has to propose. So what should not exceed that maximum stock level, that is covered through this maximum stock level field. And then we are having the field called assembly scrap. So when do we use this assembly scrap? For example, when you produce something in the mission, right? For example, you plan to produce 1000 numbers, but always you expect some 1% scrap there. So which means that you will produce 1010, right? Then only 1000 you will get. So because the mission is designed like that, or when you are doing the setup, there may be some wastage, like that it may be there. So accordingly, you have to procure your materials accordingly, right? So this is the header material. Accordingly, you have to procure the material. So the total quantity what you need to produce, no,
or then accordingly this assembly scrap will add that much quantity and then will propose it. That scrap percentage you have to maintain it here. It may be 1% or 2% depending on the business process and how the machine is working. There is another scrap called component scrap that we will be discussing when we are discussing the MRP4 view. And there is another field, right? There is a rounding value. So what is the purpose of this rounding value? For example, when you are working out some proposal, right? So and then you are getting a proposal, but the supplier is always give, no, they want to give that every time when you order it, they will give only in the 5 numbers or 10 numbers or 100 numbers only. Let us take an example. If your proposal is 3543, your rounding value 1 means system will give proposal 3543, no issue. But if the rounding value is 5, then it will give 3545. For rounding value 1000, it will give proposal of 4000. I will give one simple example. There is a crate of cool drinks, right? If you place the cool drinks order, then the crate may occupy only 24 bottles. You cannot order 10 bottles or 12 bottles or 13 bottles if you want to buy something bulk for a shop, right? You have to buy one crate. So in that crate, you have to round off the unit quantity like 24 numbers. Another example, the fasteners. No, the fasteners will be always packed in the numbers of like 500 or 1000 like that. You cannot order 450, 460, 480 like that. You have to place order 500. Then the supplier also will supply that 500 or 1000 in terms of that. So they will give one pouch or one bag like that, right? So that's how whenever you want to have this kind of materials which can be handled with this kind of a pack size or box size or like a crate size, at the time you have to use this rounding value.
In this session, we discussed the parameters like MRP Group, ABC indicator, MRP Type, Reorder Point, Planning Time Fence, Planning Cycle, MRP Controller, Lot Sizing Procedure, Minimum Maximum Lot Size, Rounding Value. All these things are critical parameters in MRP1 view, which should be understood by both the planners and buyers. Now let us go into this quiz of this session. So what is MRP Group? ABC classification has to be done manually and updated, true or false. While selecting MRP type reorder planning like a VB and V1, which field is mandatory to fill? What is the purpose of planning time fence? What is the role of MRP controller? What are the parameters maintained in lot size data selection? What is assembly scrap percentage? And what is the purpose of rounding value? So these are the questions for this session. We'll see the answers for this session in the next session. In the next session, we will discuss in detail MRP area parameters, because in MRP one view, there is a area MRP area parameters are there. Those things we'll discuss before you go to MRP 2 view. Meanwhile, please start to create MRP 1 view for the materials you've taken for the business case, continuing that basic views and purchasing views, right? Now, please give your feedback to improve flow and contents, and also refer to your friends and colleagues to subscribe to the channel so they can also get the benefit of this course. Thank you. See you in the next session. Take care. Bye.